guys. Welcome back. This is By the Book, and we are married relationship coaches. I'm Sent.
I'm Sil.
And today we're talking about Love is Blind, Season 3, Episodes 4 or 5 through 7.
Yeah.
We're talking about Cole and Zanab. Or Zanab. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, so forgive me for pronouncing it multiple different ways throughout this video.
I'm just going to call her Z.
All right. Yeah. So, respectfully, if you guys know how to pronounce her name, better go ahead and put that phonetic spelling in the comments. I'm not trying to do it wrong.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I want to call Cole like F-boy number 2. For me, Bartiz is the first F-boy, and then Cole is the second F-boy. I hate to see it. These guys are just absolute trash to me. They weren't ready to be on a show like this. No. They probably weren't ready to be married. At all, even though Cole has been married before.
They're not even ready for just a simple relationship. The maturity level is just not there with either one of them. But I'm sorry.
They're not ready to be with a woman sight unseen. They're not ready to be with a woman for what's on the inside.
No.
They need to see first. So this was a horrible experiment. It was a fail for them.
They need to see first. But you know what? I keep saying... that as a man thinks, so is he. That's a Bible verse. And so what's in them is ultimately going to come out. And if you're solely attracted and you through what you see, you're solely attracted through your anatomy, it was going to be somebody else that was going to show up that was going to sway them. The maturity level isn't there. And it was going to happen eventually because that's just who they are.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this process is uniquely designed for failure, especially for young people. But I mean, we can get into that part later. Yeah. The first thing I want to note is that Zanab asks, I want to really call her needy, but I think independent of Cole, Zanab is a little bit insecure on her own.
That's the discussion that you and I were having.
Yeah.
Is she, just like what you were just saying, is she insecure on her own, or how much is Cole kind of contributing to her insecurity?
And in my opinion, and you guys give yours, I don't think that Cole is making her insecure. She's already insecure. Yeah. She started with the makeup insecurity, and it's just one thing after another. He certainly does not help that situation, but she's insecure all by herself. Now, she asks him, after seeing all the girls, because as we closed the last episode from last week, everybody had met up. And she asks him since you've seen all the girls, are you having any second thoughts?
Yeah.
As they're sitting down together. And there is radio silence. And she's like, okay, it's the silence for me, or it's the pause for me.
Yeah.
So he finally does say no, he's not having any second thoughts, which is wholly unbelievable because why are you so quiet? Why isn't there a quick response to that?
Yes. I don't know, for dramatic reasons or whatever. I don't know or maybe he just needed some time to think about what he wanted to say and how he wanted to say it. Now for that, I don't fault him. Go ahead and take as much time as you need to say what you need to say. That way it don't come out wrong and you continually hurt this woman because that's what he's been doing. But the silence
spoke volumes.
It did. But again, I'd rather for him to take his time than rather speed through it and then continue to say, oh yeah, I'm attracted to Colleen. Oh, yeah. I would have rather for him to just take his time and then for him to continue to put his foot in his mouth. Yes. Take your time.
I would have rather for him to say no, because that's an easy answer.
It's not for him.
And then think about any follow-up that you might want to say after that. Yeah. I mean, for God's sake, that's a give me. That's like a alley-oop right there. Just say no.
It is, and it should be, but not for, what did you call him? An F-boy.
Good grief.
Yeah.
So then they move on to like the little pool party that they had. And it seems like he's still trying to like bond with her, but her insecurities are heavy. He's trying to get her onto this big unicorn inflatable with him.
Yeah.
And she just refuses to even get in the pool. She's like, some of us don't look as good all wet. I'm like, girl, if you don't get in the pool with your fiance, like what is going on? Yeah. I didn't like that moment from her. Like, now she's coming off like overly reserved, and it's going to be unappealing, I think, to most men. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way.
Yeah.
But again, it kind of makes me wonder, is that just her being her, or is it her because her self-esteem has been attacked? Her, it just makes me wonder, how much of it is it her and how much of it is it Cole? And so it's hard for me sometimes to be like, okay, that's her. Oh no, that's definitely her, or that's probably her, or it could be Cole. It's hard for me to kind of decipher through and see which one it is.
You guys let us know, like I said, what you think about this. I don't feel like one person can undo your self-esteem in 12 days or however many days it's been. I always assign a different number of days. It's somewhere between 8 and 14. Yeah. So I just don't think that that's something that can happen. If you're a self-confident person, that's going to just come out of you.
True.
And if somebody's not appreciative of that, it can be insulting, but you're more likely to be a little bit defensive, like, well, that's your problem, type of thing, rather than just completely shrink into yourself. And not even be able to, you came to the pool party. Why aren't you in the pool? Like, get in the pool, girl. What is going on? Yeah. He's not going to be more attracted to you because you don't get in the pool. So what are we doing?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but just a little bit of her background. Well, she's 30 years old. And so I know for some women, they feel like they've hit the proverbial wall at the age of 30. Like, oh my goodness, I'm 30 and I haven't got married yet. Me. And so I know that's a self-esteem problem. And then on top of that, she didn't grow up with her parents. Both her parents died. And so she didn't, and I know she grew up with her stepmom. Yeah. But I don't know how much different that could be your biological mom and your parents versus your stepmom. To you need that parent to instill that type of your self-esteem. Yes.
I mean, yes. I don't know. That's a big question mark. We don't have a lot of background like that and how that impacted her. It could have, it could not. But whatever it is, I feel like it's definitely within her first. And Cole is just somebody that's going to exacerbate that for her because of the type of person he is. Yeah. 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 So
again, it's hard to know which one it is. Is it him or her? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's her.
It's her.
So in the pool, Cole, I mean, he just slinks on over to Colleen, just like Satan. And he asks her, like, how are things going with you and Matt? And she's pretty definitive that it's good. She's happy. She's good where she is. Yes. And he keeps poking. He keeps prying. He's like, is it really that great? Like, get away. Yeah. What did you think about that?
And the role of the devil is being played. Right. It did. It did have some Genesis chapter 2 vibe to it. It really did. And because he was just poking at it, trying to get something from her to say, yeah, I'm attracted to you physically too. And if we weren't caught up in this whole television show thing, would you choose me in a bar?
Yeah. And she gave it to him. Yeah. He kind of shot his shot at her. And it was horrible. He's like, you're definitely the type that I would go for. He begged the question. He's like, well, Zanab isn't really my type, yada, yada, yada. Colleen's like, I mean, the natural question is, oh, well, what was your type? And he's like, you. Very quickly. And she's like, oh. She didn't know what to do with it. She's still not trying to feed into it until he kept prodding and prodding and prodding. He finally said, yeah, she was the type of girl that he would go for. And she didn't know what else to do, I think. You guys let us know. Maybe you think she was a little bit more villainous in this. But I don't. If he had have left well enough alone, she would have been okay.
Yeah, I wish she would have stuck to her guns. With what she was saying,
and just swam away.
Exactly. But or just did kind of like a Raven thing. Yeah. Just shut him down completely. But, we have what we have.
So, right. Now, he finally gets her to say, yeah, if we were in the real world, like, I would go for a guy like you, right? Or something of that nature. that turns into a whole thing later, and we will get into that with our next video. But he pushed her to that. Mm-hmm. And he's so like uncouth with the way that he deals with things. Of course, he literally ran back and exposed this to Zanab.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. I can't deal with him, y'all. Like, So, I mean, just to make her feel even more and more insecure. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the next big thing, let's get to Zanab and her family. She took him to see her stepmom. Okay. I think it's a huge deal for Cole that his parents won't accept this thing.
That is huge.
They won't, neither one of them will support. And he's obviously very hurt by that. Mm-hmm. That's something that she's reaching out. I think she's doing everything right in terms of, trying to support him through that. Mm-hmm. But what do you do? Like, people want their parents to support their marriage.
True. I wish we could have heard some of the conversation between Cole and his family. Yeah. Because at this particular point, I'm not really believing everything that he says. You don't think so?
He got it like they slapping him in the face with the Bible right now. He did something that was like absolutely biblically incorrect. Like exactly. This didn't like violate any rules. Exactly. Like what are we talking about?
Exactly. So it just, I don't know. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't. And so I'm wondering if it's not so much this particular way that he's met his fiance that they have an issue with, or did they just have an issue with Cole specifically? Something that he's done in the past, something he continues to do. I would like to kind of like know their viewpoint as they reveal it themselves, mm-hmm. not coming from Cole.
Yeah. All right. So I want to ask you about this conversation that they had. Mm-hmm. And I could be getting this totally out of sequence, guys, and please forgive me. Yeah. But Zanab at some point asked Cole, like, to rate her on a scale from 1 to 10. Yeah. He gives her a 9 out of 10. Uh-huh. She asks him if there's anyone else here who you would give a 10 out of 10. Mm-hmm. And he is like, well, I said maybe one person. She's like, no, you said Raven and Colleen.
Yes.
So she's like trying to act like, yeah, that makes sense. But she's like, that's still like terrible for me to hear. Yeah. My position is, and again, you guys let us know what your position is. Why did you ask that question? Mm-hmm. I say this all the time, but what I'm going to say, baby, you play stupid games and you win stupid prizes. Yeah. That was a silly game to play with him. Yeah. He said to her repeatedly that she wasn't his type. Exactly. Mm-hmm. That means you're probably not going to rate a 10 out of 10. He's also said that Colleen was his type. She's probably going to rate higher than you. Wherever you are on the spectrum, she's probably a little bit higher than that. Yeah. Why do you want to put your man in the position to lie straight to your face? True. That's a lose-lose situation. Because if he says, well, you're a 10 out of 10 and she's also a 10 out of 10, you're going to be like, well, then why is she more attractive? That doesn't make any sense. I can't possibly be a 10 out of 10 if she's a 10 out of 10. Yeah. It was set up for her to argue with him. It was set up for her own feelings to get hurt. And I thought that was silly.
What was your question for me? You said you had a question.
How did you feel about her asking him that question?
Well, I think, like you said, I don't think she should have asked that question, but I do know, or what he thought. I feel that she asked the question because she wanted some validation from him that he feels that she's pretty, and because up until this point, it's been very rocky. She knows that he would prefer to be with Colleen over her, and physically. Mm-hmm. And so she already knows this, and it is tearing her self-esteem apart. And so she's wanting some validation. She's reaching out to him as her fiance, and then possible eventual husband. She's reaching out to him to say, "Tell me you're attractive to me. Tell me I'm this for you." And so she says what she says. I don't think she should have asked that question.
That was so stupid.
But I understand the reason why.
What was the right answer? This is me as a woman saying this. Okay. I don't see how he could have given a right answer. Mm-hmm. What's the right answer to that? I honestly don't know. How can you answer that in a way that's going to be satisfactory to Zanab? This came off to me as very needy, mm-hmm. and counterproductive to anything that they were going to do, because she couldn't get a good answer to it. Didn't matter what he said, it was going to be a fail. Or she was going to be like, you're full of it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, he never really should have said what he said about Colleen to her anyway. But the correct answer really would have been, you know what? In the pods, the connection that we had is a 10 out of 10. When I saw you, I was amazed. And you're a 10 out of 10. You want to know how you stack up against someone else? There is no comparison, because I'm choosing you. I chose you in the pods. I'm choosing you today. In 4 weeks, I'm choosing you. And so when we're 110, I'm choosing you. And so there is no comparison. You're the most beautiful woman I think I'm ever going to meet in my life. That's how you answer that question.
My husband think he's smooth, y'all. But it's still skirting the direct question about physical attractiveness.
Physical attractiveness?
Yeah, which I think that's what the question was. Like, physically, where do I rate 1 to 10? Physically, where do these women rate 1 to 10? And she's backing him into a corner, forcing him to answer a question that she doesn't want the answer to. That's foolish to me.
Well, he doesn't have to answer it.
he got to give a roundabout answer.
He doesn't have to answer it that traps himself either. That's all he has to do is know you are my choice.
Yeah, but that would make me mad. If I were a woman and somebody asked me a question like that, I would be like, why would you ask me a question like that? I would immediately flip it and be angry and be like, you're trying to trap me into answering a question that neither one of us is going to have a satisfactory result to. I would go off. So I was mad for him.
Some men would.
Yeah.
Some men would not answer it, specifically.
I would be a horrible man.
But I'm on the side of if your woman, if your wife is looking for validation, and this is your woman, this is your wife, and if she's looking to be affirmed, then it is your position to do that. And it's your position to do that, and do that in such a way that she receives it and that she understands it and she knows this is my dude. However it needs to come out.
They only got 25 years of life experience. They ain't ready for all of this, baby.
That's true. But, experience does count for something. Yeah. And maybe they shouldn't have gone through this experience.
Yeah. So at the end, they all meet up. The group meets up. And here we have another opportunity. I guess they're at a bar or some sort of cafe or something. They have an opportunity to kind of mix and mingle and talk with one another.
Yeah.
During this, the girls are sitting together at first, and Zanab has a conversation with Colleen where more of the story comes out. She's heard some of the story from Cole, and Colleen is like, he said that he was attracted to me, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Now, for her end, she didn't give the whole story of what she said. No. And we watched it back to make sure that we didn't miss or embellish this in our head.
No one wants to incriminate themselves.
No. Not even she definitely said, all I said was, well, yeah, you're an attractive guy too. She said a lot more than that. She didn't say as much as what Matt said she said. I don't know where he got all those things from.
Yeah.
But she did give a little bit more and say something about if they were in the real world, that she would have talked to him in a bar.
Yeah.
Probably pretty inappropriate. But again, I still put all of that fault on Cole for pressuring her that far. So after this conversation, Zanab is hurt again. She flips around. She talks to Matt directly.
Yeah.
And y'all already know I think Matt is crazy. So you don't need to talk to Matt because he needs everybody else to calm him down. So he's not going to calm you down in the situation. No. They sit there and have the conversation, and he done blew it way out of proportion, talking about Colleen said, if we get into the real world, then whatever happens, happens. Boy, when did she say that? Where did he get that out of the whole conversation?
Yeah.
It was wild. But he said enough to, it's almost a conspiracy to just tear Zanab down. He said enough to break her heart all over again. Yeah. And she's really mad. She's not placing so much of the blame at first on Colleen. She's blaming Cole,
yes.
which she should because he's at fault.
Yeah.
But then she's also hearing like this extra stuff from Nat, and like I think she's kind of pissed off at Colleen too. We'll see. We'll see if that plays itself out later the next time she's with her.
Yeah.
But it takes her back to talking to Cole, and that conversation is horrible. He's at the point, and this is another side conversation that you and I had, where he's exhausted. He's like, I went over this with you time and time again. I'm attracted to you. Yeah. You are beautiful to me. He is trying to give her that reassurance that you just talked about.
He did.
But she's not hearing it. She's like, I don't believe you. That was a great, what does she call it? Performance or something like that?
Yes.
That you put on. And now he's like, okay, like, what am I supposed to do?
Yes.
I'm sick of it.
Yeah. And he checked out of the conversation at that particular point.
He even going so far as being like, well, marry Matt then. Your team Matt, then marry Matt.
Yeah, it spun completely out of control at that time. But as you and I were talking, first of all, we both understand that she came at him and he first tried to smooth it over again, and then she began to say more things, and it kind of hurt his feelings. And that's where I think he probably should have said, all right, I'm really trying, and I know I hurt you, but you hurting me now, and that's not going to help our situation either. That's how you kind of like respond with that one. But you and I also talked about, we can understand that if you've already done with, you're already done with this conversation, then why are you bringing it back up?
Yeah, that was my thing.
Yeah.
And I think you had a really good response to that.
Yeah, it's just that I think about it in terms of if a boyfriend or a husband cheats on his wife or his girlfriend, and so when the woman goes through the process of forgiving, she wants to talk about it. She wants to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it, and that is her process of forgiving. Now, for the man, it's uncomfortable. And he doesn't want to talk about it anymore because he feels that, okay, I talked about it.
Crimes.
Exactly. Yeah. I talked about it once. I talked about it twice. I ain't talking about it no more. No, you need to talk about it as often and as long as she needs to talk about it, because that is her process of getting past it. That's her process of forgiving you. And so it's not that she's trying to smash your face in the poop that you did. No, she's actively trying to forgive you, and you got to go through this process with her, because guess what? You're the one that messed up. And so Cole, you're the one that messed up, and you hurt her feelings, and so she is trying to move past it by talking to you. Now, I don't condone how she's just spun it out of control.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and that's perfect advice for people that we talk to about infidelity issues. Yeah. But this isn't an infidelity. Yeah. This isn't even, well, I mean, I guess it's a betrayal on some level. It's a betrayal.
And it's definitely hurt.
It is hurt. But it's not big. Like, I feel like she's blowing it out of proportion. And I feel like at this point, she's so uncomfortable and so insecure that she's pushing him away. She's like trying to push him away from her at this point. And if that's what you want, you don't have to go a roundabout way in doing it. You can just say, I'm done with it. Like, I can't. Like, I don't trust you. I'm not comfortable. Maybe the age gap is too much. Whatever it is, walk away. You don't have to push the other person away and make them do the deed.
True. But you know what? When a person is hurt, a lot of times they're going to try to give hurt back. And I think that's when the maturity comes in. And that's when Cole could have responded with, I'm trying. Yeah. And I know I hurt you, but you hurting me now. And it's not going to put us where we need to be.
I need her to respond with some maturity too, though.
That is true.
You know what I mean? And she's the oldest, but no, I need her to respond with a little bit more maturity as well.
I feel you.
I agree with you. I feel like there's better ways for him to handle that. But at this point, you're not getting anywhere by just battling with one another. Either walk away from that situation or choose the forgiveness route.
Yes.
Choose to listen to him, choose to believe him, and move forward. And then if he has any other transgressions, then hold him accountable there.
Yes.
But what are we doing? I mean, this is crazy.
Yes. And so, when immaturity meets insecurity, this is the type of situations that you're gonna have, and there's no trust. There's no trust in this relationship. No, because they've only known each other for a few weeks, and they rush to have sex with one another. And we all know that trust is something that is built by consistent behavior over a long period of time. They don't have that.
And that's one question before we let you guys go that I have for you all is just, do you think, how big of a role do you think sex plays into like all these hurt feelings and emotions? My husband and I were talking about this, and we probably will do maybe a sidebar about this because we don't have that much time left.
Yeah.
But we have a difference of opinion maybe a little bit in terms of like how much weight is put on sex in these situations. My position is that young people are just having sex willy-nilly all over the place, and they can do it and be a little bit more removed emotionally, especially when it's someone they haven't known very long. He thinks like there's more of a soul tie, even if it's a quick situation. So I'm just interested, interested globally in what you guys as the viewers think about that. Like, is it a young people thing? Is it just universal across the board? Does sex just make you start doing crazy things or and being really insecure? Or, you know, is that like old school way of thinking? Just curious about that. Drop those comments below, guys. Like, share, subscribe. We'll talk to you guys soon.